All of a sudden, she comes out and she says the same thing, exactly the same words that I used.
Okay, former President Trump in York, Pennsylvania, keeping an eye on that speech on the economy.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here. And well, folks, we just witnessed what might be one of the worst campaign speeches ever delivered by Donald Trump. Yes, you heard that right. Trump's speech in Pennsylvania was so dull, so lifeless, that even Fox News, their loyal cheerleader, pulled the plug and cut away. It was like watching someone get hit with a tranquilizer dart, except instead of dropping to the ground, everyone just sat there, staring, wondering when the misery would finally end.
You know, he said, we're weird. That JD and I are weird. I think we're extremely normal people. Like you, exactly like. He's weird. Did you ever see him go on the stage and go like crazy? It's like between his movement and her laugh, there's a lot of craziness. I'd say a step further than weird. Weird is a nice word by comparison.
And let's talk about those poor souls standing behind Donald Trump. Imagine being stuck there having to pretend you're interested, all while standing downwind of whatever aroma Donald was wafting in their direction. And what the hell was he even talking about? I mean, the guy went on and on talking about how he's not weird, which, ironically, is exactly what someone who's weird would say. The crowd, silent, zero reaction, nada. He rambled for 40 minutes about absolutely nothing while everyone around him sat in awkward silence, probably questioning their life choices.
I would have made billions of dollars in this job if I wanted to play that game the way they played it, but instead I took the job very seriously and very importantly. And you can see from the recently announced financial reports, I don't need the money. And I'm proud to announce that doing and being president, I lost billions of dollars.
Now, think about this for a second. This is Donald Trump, the former TV reality star who once ran the Trump empire, the guy who used to be on top of the world. Today, he's looking more haggard than ever, about as full of bounce as a flat tire. Could you imagine being one of those folks standing behind him? After 10 minutes of that nonsense, anyone in their right mind would be thinking, all right, time to go on with my day. But nope, Trump just kept droning on with some of the dumbest nonsense you've ever heard. And wouldn't be surprised if someone in that lineup was desperate for a restroom break, quietly suffering while the demented old fart rambled on about the circus going on in his head.
She called it wrong. She's called it wrong now for about 8 years. But she said one thing that got me. She said Kamala has one big advantage. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. So I decided to go back and reread the clause. I'm not saying he's not, but I say that I am much better looking than her. I think I'm much better. Much better. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
And let's face it, folks, Donald Trump is an egomaniac who is losing his marbles in a very public way. They say that the last stage of a narcissist's decline is a descent into madness, and Trump is giving us front row seats to the show. This man is so out of his league, so outclassed, so outdone, that he's sinking in the polls faster than a lead balloon. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is mopping the floor with him, and it's becoming increasingly clear that Trump is losing. Even his closest supporters are jumping ship. Why? Because his entire campaign about the cognitive decline of elderly men is coming back to bite him right in the ass. Newsflash, Donald Trump is the old guy now, and his performance in Pennsylvania should convince everyone that he is unfit, just like J.D. Vance said. And speaking of J.D. Vance, even his camp is begging Trump to stop attacking Kamala Harris and drop this pathetic crowd size nonsense. But Trump, he's beyond reason. He's like a spoiled child throwing a fit because he's not getting his way. Meanwhile, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Karl Rove immediately came out and trashed Trump's ad hoc message.
Much more disciplined message needed. I mean, I've been through this twice, and you want to go to these places, and you want to have a simple message that the media has to cover. Instead, he gives them a gigantic smorgasbord. Some of it is written into a speech draft, but apparently some of it is just ad hoc, and they get to pick and choose. And who thinks that the dominant media in this country is going to pick the thing is best productive for him in getting votes. They're going to pick out something like he just said, casting aspersions on Kamala Harris or President Biden.
Now, if you don't know who Karl Rove is, let me enlighten you. He's no lightweight. Rove was the mastermind behind George W. Bush's presidency, and when he speaks, people listen. So when he says Trump's speech was garbage, it carries weight.
Whatever you want to say about Trump, he really has, he's been entertaining in a kind of demented way. And as I watched his presser at Bedminster on Thursday, I thought, what a bore. What a bore this man has become.
Well, and part of his appeal all along, or part of his political power, has been that he understands the medium of television very well. And you saw flickers of that, right? He had all of the products there lined up at that Bedminster press conference. Like, he understands entertainment, he understands television, but he can't control himself.
And let's be honest here. Trump isn't bringing in the youth. He's not exciting the crowd, and his get up and go has officially got up and went. Even Fox News is breaking away to more exciting programming. Who would have thought? Donald Trump, the man who once dominated the news cycle, is now the old news that everyone is breaking away from. And it's about damn time the Republicans wake up and realize that Trump has no interest in making the lives of the American people better. He's running to stay out of jail, to enrich himself, and to punish his political opponents. And let's not forget his enablers. They're trying to install a dictatorship with Trump as their wannabe king. But that's not what America is about. Those who seek to destroy democracy shouldn't get a second chance to do just that. It's time to change the channel on Donald Trump. We've had enough of him turning the executive branch into a trashy TV episode of Hillbilly Elegy. Is this really the best the Republican Party has to offer? Rumor has it that Trump might even be thinking of firing J.D. Vance and replacing him with someone who isn't such an embarrassment. But you know what? Trump doesn't care about the democratic process or the rule of law. His Project 2025 manifesto would be a disaster for this country, a con job that's been caught flat-footed. He's losing traction, sinking fast, and it's high time the people standing behind him just walked off in disgust. Trump is a dumpster fire. How much more damage can the Republican Party inflict on itself? They picked the wrong horse in this race, and they're going to suffer the consequences of their incompetence for years to come. Donald Trump is a broken record stuck on stupid, and he's not going to change. But we can change the tune by turning him off and voting every one of his sycophants out of office in November. And that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.